I'm just signing in.
Hi guys, welcome to the stream. This is episode 2 of the Legion Live. I can see that we've got Kiyoshiki and Joel Driver in. Welcome guys. So, this week's show, we've got, if I can remember directions, we've got Edic Beer, we've got Phil,
hi.
Sorry, we've got Callum,
hello,
we've got Ace Face.
I'm just signing in.
Hi guys, welcome to the stream. This is somebody's not muted. 2 of the Legion Live.
Crap.
I can see that we've got Kiyoshiki and Joel Driver in. Welcome guys. So, this week's show, we've got somebody dropped as well. We've got Edic Beer. Start. Have we killed it yet? Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Take two.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we've got Ace Face and we've got the Warpforge, Jacob, who's actually just dropped off from the call. Hopefully he'll be back on in a minute. So, just wanted to start off with a hello, really. Who wants to talk about their week? I can go first if you...
Yeah, fire away.
Okay. I was on holiday last week, so that was good. Haven't been away in a while. Got back from holiday and the little man's got an infection in his eye and a white lump on his actual eyeball.
Oh,
I was crapping myself. So, yeah, straight off to the doctors. Knackered getting back from the holiday, and then that happens. Sorry about that. I was just trying to get Jacob back on the call. But yeah, so the hobbying, basically, there wasn't much because we were all on holiday. Yeah.
lovely.
Anybody else wants to have a chat?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Go for it.
Oh no, after you, Nick.
I was just going to say, Jacob's just mentioned that he's got student Wi-Fi, so his wife's having trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
That explains it.
Yeah. So
We'll try and get him back on.
I've been busy this week doing the train stuff, basically, pretty much all week. Been doing a bit of Dark Eldar as well, onto the next unit after the Venoms are finished. But primarily just been working on that terrain, so really enjoying it though.
Lovely.
It's pretty much what I've been doing, just terrain building.
I've been busy with the paintbrush, getting some guard blobs painted up. So I've got my first infantry platoon done. Pretty much done my Aegis defense line, a couple of other bits, trying to build that up. And then I did my first bit of magnetizing earlier today.
Ooh.
So found some Deathwing bits, sort of cut them up and mag them onto my Deathwing Librarian for future formation stuff. So yeah, it's been pretty good.
So is that using existing holes, or you had to drill holes in?
No, I used a really cute hobby drill off Amazon. It cost me like 15 quid, and it came with 4 or 5 drill bits, and yeah,
That's not
it works pretty well.
They're fairly cheap, aren't they? I've never understood why they're called pin vices.
Oh no, I use like an electric one. So the the pin vice is the little smaller one, and it's for pinning.
Grizzly one.
I don't know why it's got the vice in there, but it's just
The vice of the name, they get the stuff that clamps things. So when you're doing woodwork and stuff, that's the piece that clamps the wood. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're clamping the drill, aren't you? So I suppose that's where that bit's come from.
I suppose.
Microversion.
Yeah, that's pretty much my week.
Right.
Yeah, my week. I received a Forge World order, which was quite good. I got hold of Horus Heresy Book 6, Retribution. It's the first Horus Heresy book I bought, and it's really a fantastic book. So, really happy with that book so far. I ordered it a day before the Win the Titan competition.
Oh no! Good.
I phoned them up and everything. I said, "Oh, really? Not put me in this competition and stuff," because it was just one day ahead sort of thing.
I actually rang them as well.
Yeah. I rang them. The reason I rang them also, my book was slightly damaged.
All right.
In transit, it was basically damaged just a little bit, bits and pieces. So I phoned them up and said, "What more can we do about this?" And they're going to be sending me a new book.
Oh, cool.
All right.
I've heard they're pretty good
And-
as customer service, actually.
Brilliant, yeah. If you ever have any issues with anything, a bit of resin or something that's not sort of fixed or anything, yeah, basically just give Forge World a call, and most times they'll just replace it, like for like. So, and you don't ever have to send anything back.
All right, so you're gonna have 2 books.
Yeah, I got 2 books.
What state was the original one actually in?
I'll
Just out of
go and
curiosity.
I'll go and get it in a minute.
Sure.
They basically a bit of the corners and stuff are a bit damaged, so and some of the pages were a bit folded and bits and pieces like that. So
All right, so still usable then.
yeah, very much usable. But if anyone from Forge World, no, it's really damaged. If anyone from Forge World,
Oh, the horror!
yeah.
It arrived on fire.
Yes, that was part of my week. I got an email from Forge World saying they're going to replace it tomorrow, and the order's on its way and so on. So that's cool. The rest of the week, I received a copy of Death Watch Overkill.
Oh yeah.
Started putting some of those models together and stuff. So yeah, that's a really cool game.
I'm beginning to feel like I'm the only person on the planet who doesn't own a copy of that.
Oh, that's all right. I don't.
Right. It's everywhere. It's crazy. Also, what's the minimum order for getting in on that Titan draw?
It's £100. I bought the book and I bought a few bits and pieces, and with the shipping and everything, it was £115.
Oh,
So it was easily suitable for the competition, but it's just a day early, so it's annoying.
just ask for a full refund and then
And just
buy it the
give-
next day.
Yeah. Well, does them sending another book to you? Does that now classify you as being in the
on
tag?
its own is less than £100, so it's like
Oh,
just annoying.
gutted.
Yeah. So that was basically my week.
Cool. I've had a pretty hectic week. Loads of projects on the go. So I've also got the older Death Watch guy, hence the big nasty gene stealery guy, work in progress at the moment. But yeah, so I've been doing a lot of that, putting them together, trying to come up with a list that will be suitably nasty with that. And then I've been working on the World Eaters some more. So finished off the Contemptor, so that was pretty nice. And then just a few other little bits, working on a Corn Army in the background as well. So that's kind of ongoing. So I did a few Flesh Hounds. At the moment, I'm a bit kind of swamped with it, to be fair. Quite a lot of projects ongoing, but it's good. It's good. And I've just started a new job, so it's been a bit sort of hectic, squeezing things in.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, no, it's been a good week. It's hobby stuff is pretty crazy at the moment, but it's all good fun.
It's
You say
definitely a
that-
double-edged sword. Sorry, Karen.
Sorry, mate. Did you say you had to make a list up for Death Watch? I thought it's like fixed models.
No,
and-
well, you've got basically, if you take the formation, so the formation's 600 points for basically all of the cult gene stealers. So you can take that as a formation, but obviously no game is generally going to be 600 points. So it's how that sort of goes with a Tyranid army. So particularly if you want to, use like a lot of infiltrating stealers, I'm trying to come up with a way of making a gene stealer Death Star. So so lots of invisible gene stealers running at you. Sounds pretty funny.
Oh, okay. So I see what you mean. So you're going to use the Death Cult thing in a normal list as a formation, not talking about the actual game itself. So the game itself is like a fixed.
I'm not really interested in the game. It's just really all about just putting it into my Hive Fleet really and making it work. I mean, the boards will just basically get thrown out. All the useless Marines I've already managed to dispatch to other people. But
I was going to say, eBay them.
yeah, no, I've got. We're doing a swap, so I'll basically get 2 lots of stealers. So it should work out nice. Yeah,
That's cool.
I would say keep the boards, because I've looked at the boards and I said to my friend, the Dark Arts Sam, who's got the game, I said to him, keep the boards because you could use them for like kill team games and also Zone Mortalis games as well. So it's
it's a good idea.
There's Zone Mortalis actually. That's not good.
Yeah, good idea. But yeah, so it's been good, entertaining.
Yes, it's very much a double-edged sword having too much hobby to do, especially when you run a YouTube channel. It's great for the content,
Yeah,
but it's just so much to do at the same time.
I actually find it's kind of almost like I find it the opposite. It's kind of I actually find it's worse for the channel when I've got lots going on because I end up spending more time hobbying and less time producing content. Almost for me, the best time is when I'm really low on hobby stuff and I'm up to date, because then I can concentrate more on the battle reports and more of the tactical stuff, and I don't have to worry so much about the actual, because I'm just kind of getting stuck into stuff. So it's kind of I find it a lot harder to kind of squeeze the actual content out. But yeah, just the way it works, I suppose.
Cool.
I mean, my week's been quite full of hobby because with university now getting like a bit lax on subjects because I've got everything planned and just waiting for things to do. I've just been filling me time full of just painting up my Night Lords because they need to get painted. So as soon as I get painted, I get doing more battle reports, and I can't wait to do more battle reports with them. Currently, as a work in progress, I'm painting up this Lord here. I call him Craxus the Cursed. I'm going to get one of the Forge World shoulder pads for the Night Lords and put him on the shoulder pad here. But I'm following the instructions for the paint guide in the Grook issue of White Dwarf, where you've got Chronic Dragon Gazer's axe as the start point for his axe. I'm going to basically try and build on that and try and add lightning bolts and streaks everywhere. So currently that's going to happen, and any mutated bits I'm going to paint in dark reds to make the mini really pop out.
Have you considered having like lightning bolts, actual plastic, physical lightning bolts? I've seen some of them around recently.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I just think at the moment where I'm standing with it is I've got to buy all the Forge World upgrades for all my troops, for all my Warp Talons, for all my Terminators, for all me. I just think at the moment I'm just going to think about getting the actual upgrades in, paint the stuff up, then because of the nature of the lightning bolts and stuff, maybe buying them later and have them as like a special effect on stuff.
Fair enough.
Cool.
I think they if done right, they can really add a lot to a model.
Oh,
But
I
it's,
can't. Yeah.
It's a gamble, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
John,
Right, so
Driver said that he likes your bone colour on your marine guns.
Oh.
I think that was
that
aimed
the-
towards Barry, wasn't it?
Quite,
Sons of Neptune.
quite possibly.
Yeah.
Let's do a little shout out. We've got Amy S. We've got Scarnares in here. We've got Barry from Immortal Uprising Studios. I saw that we've got Big Mac Danceville in here and all. Welcome, guys. It's a nice turnout.
Yeah.
Hey.
Right, so I was listening to Apeface talking about a new list that he'd got building up, and what I was thinking to myself is that's a perfect segue to our topic of the week. So
Always
may
helping
as
you
well get
out.
on with it.
Always helping you out.
Yeah. I was just a shame I couldn't do it at that point. I needed you to go last, really.
Yeah.
Planet. It's all in the planet.
Yeah. We're
Quick
going to get a little
rewind.
professional now. Have a little bit of a transition screen. Topic of the week. See, that was awesome.
Too good.
Yeah. So this week's topic of the week is power gamers, or gaming rather, versus casual gaming. Does anyone want to kick us off on that?
Oh, this kind of work. So I've had 6 to 7 years of advice, and this from the depths of Daka Daka.
I think we got a mixture of. I don't know whether all of you guys would consider yourself power gamers. I know I certainly don't.
Yeah.
Although when I was into 40k, I definitely went that route. I
Yeah.
really fell down the rabbit hole of building lists and trying to come up with the cheesiest combinations of war gear and all that sort of stuff. Even sort of building lists against specific armies.
Oh no.
I remember.
Did you list snipe? Did you find out what your opponent was playing and then be like, oh, really?
I kind of learnt what he had and then started doing it from there.
Shame on
I
you.
know. In my defence, at the time, it was 5th edition and I was using Tau. So,
Okay.
and it was against Orcs. So I think I can be a bit excused for that.
All right.
It wasn't really a fair matchup. The Tau back then was absolute crap. I was having to use Forge World bits just to try and make it an even match.
You wouldn't get that now, though, obviously.
Oh.
Tau versus Orcs is a different story 2 editions on.
Yeah.
Remember.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah. But
I suppose one of the big
after
things is what you consider as power gaming, because there's very different people's opinions on what is considered as power gaming, because you say power gaming to some people and then it's just around win at all costs. You say power gaming to other people and it's around putting a competitive list together and playing competitively at the high end of the game. So it has both positive and negative connotations to it, and I think one of the big things is that interpretation of what is a power gamer or what is power gaming, and I think that's probably one of the big things that kind of frustrates me because I don't consider myself as a power gamer, but I consider myself as a competitive gamer, and I think there's a difference between the way that you talk about that.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I mean, I did a little searching for definitions, just to see what the internet said power gaming was, and it says they're a gamer who has the aim of maximizing progress or specific goal to the exclusion of things like storytelling, atmosphere, and camaraderie.
No.
So it's sort of, from that interpretation, I'm getting the feeling that a power gamer is someone who builds a list not to add to the story of the game or play to the fluff, or add to the atmosphere, like beer and pretzel style.
Sorry, you went with the
breaking up a bit there.
Turned into a bit of a robot there in the middle. And I think you turned into a statue as well.
I agree to an extent. It's about attitude. I mean, for me, from my own experiences, when I first started playing back in 2007 with my Chaos Marines, so I missed the glory days of 3.5. I started off with 4, apparently. But I started off using 1,000 Suns and all that in my first tournament and stuff, and I absolutely used to get wiped clean. But then I started paying attention. I went onto DACA and stuff, and I started finding out about these net lists and stuff for tournament play, and it kind of evolved from that into, at the time, which was loads of Plague Marines everywhere in Rhino Rush formation tactics. And whilst I enjoyed it, it kind of was a bit daunting because it felt repetitive at times. So I tried mixing it up. I tried doing different things. Instead of having a lash of submission with Demon Princes and stuff, I used to do infiltrate and squads of Chosen, 5 squads of Melter Guns, just outflanking, because at the time in 4th edition they could outflank, and I used to get a few decent results, especially when I used to use 3 Defilers as well. Obviously this wasn't maximum optimist to power gaming, but I end up constantly questioning certain things, like especially when we had like the Imperial Love Time by Matthew Ward of 5th edition, when you started seeing Space Marines and Grey Knights, and
He's gone.
Gone midstream. Oh, that's upsetting.
Yeah. But I think the point of attitude does stand, because there are people who will be just straight up like nasty in the way they play. Like, okay, for example, I went to my university to play a game, my first ever game of 40k, and so I just picked up a nice easy list, and you're expecting a bit of leeway as it's a first game. And he was supposed to be showing me the ropes, and he came out with the Space Marine Cat Fight Storm Iridescent.
Sorry,
and he
you've
had like bound.
You've cut out again.
Oh, okay, my internet is terrible.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll slow down a bit.
You just become a bit of a blur on the screen. Just a hair and a t-shirt.
All the good bits.
Student Wi-Fi, yes, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that we had comments that you need a haircut earlier on in the chat
Yeah. But I had one this week.
this week. I think the only way you're going to look like you don't need a haircut is if you shave it all off. Sorry. Just
Nah.
needed to get that out there. Carry on. Hopefully the internet's recovered by now and you can get a sentence out.
Okay. Anyway, basically someone tagged with an unbound cheesy list for my first ever game at 750 points. And I would consider that power gaming. To go out of your way to win a game against someone who doesn't know how to play. It's that attitude.
It's almost like you guaranteed winning sort of game, isn't it? I'm going to win at any cost.
The whole win at all cost kind of thing, where it's like, there is no way that I will bend the rules such that I can do this. And I will take advantage of the fact that I'm playing an inexperienced player to do so.
win at all costs.
Yeah. I think that's where the power gamer lies. Because I'm all for competitive players. I think that's great. Because competitions and stuff really spread awareness. So.
Yeah, I personally,
That's true.
I actually personally enjoy actually sort of losing as much as winning in my own personal battles and stuff that I've played. So yeah, I actually find it quite enjoyable. So it's a learning experience, isn't it, as well? So yeah, that's one thing to do it. So I'm very much a fluffy player. So if my fluffy list doesn't win, it's fine. Still have fun doing it. So yeah, so it's good.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I noticed when I was building my lists to destroy a friend of mine. If I was losing, I wasn't enjoying the game. Whereas when I play more casually, I'm having fun regardless of what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's another defining point.
Yeah, Craig. Sometimes the dice just don't go well, do the guys? The dice gods just don't don't go well. So
horribly wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm the type of
with the whole fluff bit. That's quite interesting because at the moment, probably the most competitive lists are currently very fluffy. The way that GW is actually building their codex, their formation system at the moment is all around making that kind of build disgustingly powerful. So if you look at, like, for instance, like a Space Marine Battle Company is about as fluffy as you're going to get. It's pretty much laid out, so you have to play the exact way that the books and the fluff works, but yet you play it and suddenly you've got all these free transports and you're fielding a ridiculously powerful army. It's the same with Necrons, so you build them in a particular way and suddenly they've got that fluff of being able to just not die, that kind of Terminator style kind of fluff to it, and that kind of goes throughout. So it's interesting when you talk about power gamers sort of going away from the fluff, because actually at the moment it's actually aligning the fluff with the strong lists and the powerful gaming.
Yeah, my thing on that is it's not that they're choosing to build a fluffy list, it's that the fluffy list is the competitive list. So it's not like they would normally do that if it wasn't as strong. That's what I mean by a power gamer. It's that attitude. So if the strongest list is the fluffiest list, that's sort of a coincidence for the power gamer. Yeah. But I mean, if they changed it, if they said that this fluffy list is now garbage, you would see power gamers make the big transition across to really hardcore lists again, and you'd see the fluffy players stick with the fluffy stuff. So I think that's what I mean. It's like an attitude change. So if you are win at all costs, it's up here, not necessarily on the table.
Word, though, isn't it? The word power gamer, it's not the right word, though, I don't think, for that. What you're talking about, that situation, that's just competitive players.
Oh yeah, no, I mean the mentality is more on the power gaming side. Because you can be competitive, and then you can be. What was it? I remember a comment on one of my videos. People were putting Aegis defense lines backwards on their own deployment edge because the rule is if you're behind the Aegis defense line, you get a 4-up cover. Now that to me is win at all cost.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's when you're trying to exploit the rules over like common sense. We all know like 40k has very vague areas of description where it's open to interpretation. If you're trying to like exploit that to win games, it's very much of an attitude problem. But going back to the formationception detachments with the Decurion stuff, I think we're also in 7th edition in the game of transition. Currently, every codex is getting some form of detachment. War Gazgul just gave the Orcs one. The Curse of the Wolfen gave the Space Wolves and the Demons one. At the moment, I think they're recalibrating the balance levels, so to say, like 5th edition did for all the codexes then, to these formations so that everyone can be on board. But at the moment, we're still in transition. So, for example, Chaos Marines don't really have any detachments unless you go with Khorne Demon King.
yeah,
And even then, it's a bit of a weird mix of both Demons and Chaos Marines. So I think the whole competitive aspect of formations is it's currently, I can't personally comment on it because it's too much of it in transition. I think it's harder to spot than 5th edition, where we used to have like literally 1 or 2 net lists. Like, for example, Grey Knights had Drago Wing and Crowy Wing, where it was just Purifier spam and then was Terminate spam with Drago and stuff like that. You had Salamanders back in 5th edition, where it was literally just Twin Link Melt Guns or something like that. It's harder to spot, but again, I think the idea is more with the attitude problem. If you've got people trying to deliberately exploit rules just to win games, then you'll obviously have that. You'll always have that collision, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's arguably the difference between the definition of a win at all cost player and possibly even a power gamer stroke competitive player. You know, it's like when I played Ace on that game when you bought your Supremacy suit. You know, you came there to win. You were going to win that, whatever happened, weren't you, that game, you know? And arguably you could say you were power gaming on that particular game. But what came with the game was your attitude towards the game that made the game really fun and friendly, and we had a great time, even though you potentially were power gaming. You weren't power gaming because you weren't. Do you know what I mean? So it's the actual definition is just so difficult.
that's right.
Yeah.
I think it does come down to how your opponent plays you more than the lists they take necessarily. Unless that list is like using the rules, like you say, to just make it an auto win.
I mean, for me, I always made as a rule of thumb for myself, when you're aiming to win, you should be doing it during deployment and on the board from onwards, not in list creation to me, because to me, especially for me, with Warhammer, it's more of a case of you take the units you want and then you want to go ahead and win with those units. But that's just my opinion. That's what I've always kept for myself as a rule of thumb. It's why I've always styled. For example, I use Warp Talons and everyone like really dumps on them. But I managed to do them okay with me lord.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. I mean, the great thing is that everybody's got so different sort of feelings on it, and I think that's what makes it such an interesting game. Because for me, the actual list building, I find that almost as enjoyable as the game, because I just love playing with Battlescribe and like bringing it up and then kind of trying to find the combinations, sliding things in and going, oh, I've got 250 points here. How can I make this work best? And then kind of playing that maths hammer in my head. Right, okay, so if I come against this scenario, how will I deal with this? If I come against this scenario, how will I deal with that? And for me, it's kind of like, I absolutely love it. I will literally stay up late at night, just smashing through lists, working out what will work and how that will kind of fare against certain things. And as I kind of almost think a lot of the time, particularly like high-end competitions, quite a lot of the time the game is already lost before you put a model on the table if you've built your list wrong. And even to the degree when, I mean, recently going to Vegas, I would say to a degree, I almost lost that tournament without putting a model on the table, because I went to a tournament that was heavily formed with MSU, and that was what won the tournament, and that was factoring in the top 15, and I went with elitist, So
Yeah.
every game I was coming up against, if I had bad luck and my rolls went down, I was losing the very small army I had so quickly against top players with tons of small units, and that's what won it. I mean, the guy that won it, rocking multiple warp spider units and jet bikes, literally just running around on the objectives, and
Yeah.
I had planned my list to go all out annihilation, rather than play for those objectives. So in a way, even with all my preparation, I had lost that tournament before I even put the models on the table. So that's why, you know, from a list building point of view, I think there's a huge skill and excitement around building that powerful list.
It's funny you should say that, actually. For Battlescribe, my friend Harry and I will just be on Skype for 5 or 6 hours talking about what lists would be kind of crazy. But most of ours are based around like, okay, how horrific could this be if it did work? But it's like a high risk. So like a dual Librarius Conclave in 1500 points, and that's all you bring? 10 Librarians?
Yeah.
And just some really different things. But I agree, writing a list can be just as fun as playing it. And I do think that is a big element of the game. But again, I think when it comes down to power gaming, you can write a competitive list and then you can write a game-breaking list.
Yeah.
But I think competitive play should be like pushed a bit more, in my opinion. Like, I think people should be encouraged to enter competitions and stuff, garner experience and that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if anybody gets the opportunity to play in a tournament, even if they don't feel they're a competitive player at all, I would heavily advise it. It's just a great experience to kind of play organised 3 games, 3 to 5 games. It's just, even if you never do it again, I would thoroughly recommend, because I think a lot of people will be extremely shocked about the type of people that play in tournaments. It isn't a bunch of idiots. It isn't a bunch of, you know, horrible games. I would say, of all the tournament play I play, probably 5% is against the players you really don't want to play. The rest of it is against just people that want to have a good fun game in a nice competitive environment. You know, that's just from my experience, you know.
Of course, yeah.
I'm actually going to admit to something now.
Oh, no.
I know, right? I actually built a spreadsheet which had the different tower weapons down the left-hand side, and then there was a drop-down box for ballistic skill, and then there was drop-down boxes for cover and that sort of thing, and how many points they all cost, depending on what they were mounted on. And it told me, based on how many of those I took for that many points, how many orcs I could kill per point. And I had this whole thing going on where you could toggle on and off whether they were in cover or not. So I was like, well, if it's cover heavy, then I need to have this weapon. But if it's not cover heavy, then this one's better at killing them. And it was just, it's not healthy. It's not at all healthy.
Oh, great.
Did you win?
No. I just couldn't kill orcs. That's how bad the 5th edition Tau was. It was just awful, especially against orcs, because they're in your face in like 2 turns.
Yeah.
There's just nothing you can do. And as soon as they hit your lines, they used to munch through the whole thing in about a turn and a half.
Well, yeah, this is it. So you probably won't believe me when I say this, but my buddy, who I play with the Blood Angels, we used to always consider him a power gamer.
All right.
Back in the day, because he used to play Blood Angels, which used to be awesome.
Codex, yeah.
With the Death Company and Honor Guard and everything. And I was playing my Necron Codex, which was, at the time, probably 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And he used to thrack me all the time. And then with his orcs, he used to play Thracker with the knobs in a truck. And then he had mega knobs, wound allocation, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And every week I used to lose. And it's like, yeah, he's such a power gamer. You know? You wouldn't believe it like nowadays, would you?
Yeah.
I remember with me orcs back in 4th edition, I always made a surprise unit, and I got quite far with it. I managed to kill Drago back in 5th edition when he was unkillable, so to say. And it was Gazgul, you had 8 knobs with big choppers, and you had a Pain Boy and a War Banner knob. One skill 7 Gazgul, went in for the charge, clobbered a load about, but it wasn't Gazgul that really made the killing blow, because Initiative 4 was nothing to be sniffed at during those times. A lot of people were caught off guard by that, then start seeing the dice pile on from the big chopper attacks, and they just rolled them, and the weight of attacks usually cleaved through Terminators back then. I remember that.
And didn't Thacker have, like, when he did the war or something, he had a take a
2 up invulnerable.
Yeah, that's right, 2+ invulnerable or something silly on the charge.
2+.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous.
It got worse.
He gets that every turn now in the new formation. Every
I know.
Yeah.
One of my friends was talking to me and he's like, imagine if you could give him the lucky stick so he could reroll saves. Like, that would be brutal.
What, like a Mantark?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I've tried the lucky stick, it's always went wrong for us. I've always went, oh look, okay, got to roll 3 times, 111. Okay, I get re-roll again, 111. Oh look, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's like,
The thing is, with Orcs, that still isn't overpowered, which is...
I know.
yes.
I know.
It's
I
nice.
prefer to-
It's not overpowered. It's
Well,
just 2 up.
1D shot to the face.
Yeah, exactly.
I've actually got a question
Yeah.
for you guys. When 7th edition came out, or was it 6th, and they introduced the cards and the objective cards?
7th.
Yeah, so
That 7th, was it? I was thinking to myself, that's perfect for narrative gaming, for basically fluffy gaming. And the thoughts that I was having is basically you tailor the objective cards for each player in a fluffy way. So, say there's some objectives behind a wall. Say you've set up your table, so there's a big sort of fortification, and one army starting on the other side, and you've got your objectives close to or behind that wall. You could have it so that you've found all the objective cards with those numbered objectives, and then the person who's trying to get over the wall, that's in his deck, and then the other person can have the other objectives. It's been a while since I've read them, so I'm not entirely sure what they are. I don't think I've ever seen it used this way, or that way rather. But I think that would be a really good way of using 7th edition for narrative gaming. I just wanted to know what your guys' thoughts of that was.
Yeah,
Whether that fits in with the way you play.
Yeah, there was some talk at the beginning that people were going to sort of deck building, as you're saying, with the cards and so on. And I think with the different armies that come with their own cards and their own objectives and so on, it obviously makes it easier to sort of deck build something to be suitable for the army.
I suppose there is that. They have come out with their own.
yeah, but I
decks
mean,
per army now, haven't they?
even them, those ones aren't great.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a couple of Dark Eldar. Or is it in the Tau book or something? They've got one which is you have to kill a unit near a board edge or something.
That's
And it's
Tau,
like- Yeah, but that's very Tau-like because it's by a board edge.
Yeah,
Like in a fluffy scenario, there are no board edges,
that's true. That's true.
So, in that respect, I think they've kind of. I like what you're doing. The idea you had though, with the taking out certain objectives and saying someone has 2 hold the line cards or something,
Yeah, exactly.
Like for fluffy
Especially
gaming,
if
I
you've
could
got
see
2
that
decks.
being good. Yeah.
I just thought that was a great opportunity, but I don't think I've ever seen it done.
Something worth a try, I think.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever took the time to actually
Yeah.
or something. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, are a lot of people actually using the ITS rules now? I know that they. Sorry, yeah, ITC. I'm thinking Infinity with the ITS. The ITC rules, because I think that's probably the only way to have proper fair games now, isn't it? It's considered the only way of actually balancing a game with the way things are, because it's an absolute mess in terms of balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very split. I mean, there's still a lot of people that hate ITC. I mean, I'm a massive fan. I love ITC. I think ideally I'd play it every game. I just think it's by far the best. But it is split. There are a lot of purists that don't like a organisation, even if it's an organisation that's voted on by by the community, which is what the ITC is. They still don't like anybody tampering with the rules. And what ITC do is they take the parts of the rules that actually make things ridiculously overpowered, or around that type of thing, and then they manage them to try and give a bit more of a level playing ground.
All right.
So, for instance, like D weapons. So in the ITC, if you roll a 6 with a D weapon at range, it will take a maximum of 3 wounds or 3 hull points with no save of any kind. Now that is very different from the unmodified version where it's 6 plus D6. So basically remove the model from the table. So yeah, there's quite a lot. There's a lot around save. So the maximum save you can have in the ITC is a 2-up followed by a 4-up, rather than potentially in the unmodified version of the game. There are plenty of ways to have a re-rollable 2-up save, which then makes something completely unkillable.
1-up feel no pain if you go for the Iron Hands chapter tactics, which is just ridiculous.
That's kind of almost another story altogether, because if you read the rules, it says everything always fails on a 1. So the people that argue that are wrong.
Yeah, I know. Still, a 2-up feel no pain is pretty solid.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, totally. But yeah, so I mean, the ITC, I absolutely love. I mean, I don't know what you think, Nick. I mean, we played a game of it in my preparation. I don't know how you think about it.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good, and in some ways, playing you like with the ITC rules made me feel a bit more comfortable playing you, because I knew there was limitations on what you could take as well. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I haven't necessarily got the plethora of those top-end models as such. So I was using more basic stuff, and I knew that apart from obviously the Storm Surges and stuff, but even those were pretty hardcore, but at least you couldn't go beyond them.
Yeah, because there's a band list. True. So all the units that are just like the Tau Supremacy suit that I brought to the game before. You can't bring that in the ITC, for the reason is it's broken. You can't bring, there's a lot of things that you can't bring. So you can't bring stuff generally that's like a large, massive blast, strength 10 that ignores cover. So like the Typhon heavy siege tank, you can't take that in the ITC. There's like anything with basically Titan in the title is banned from it. So there's an awful lot of units on there that they just don't allow you to take just around that balance thing. They don't. You can only take a maximum of 1 void shield generator with the maximum of 3 layers on it. So you can't have a network. So you've got 9 void shields, so no one can actually get to you. There's lots of little things like that they've put in just to try and make sure that there is always that element of balance there, and it's still difficult, because some codexes are ultimately better than others. I mean, the Eldar Codex is ridiculously powerful. Scat packs are for the points that you pay for them, with the amount of strength 6 shooting, they are phenomenal. But so they're always going to be power units and power armies, but the ITC definitely it does give, I think, most armies a better chance.
It's also nice having the mixture of the Eternal War missions and the Maelstrom missions as well, because the Maelstrom missions are always generally down to chance of what cards you get. Okay, once you get your cards, you've still got to play right to score them. There is definitely more element of chance with them. So you've got that fun side of it, but you've also got the Eternal War missions, which you can really hone your army down to playing against as well. So it's got that mixture, plus obviously you've got the additional 3 points, which vary from mission to mission as well. So all in all, it was very good. The only thing I didn't quite like about it was the fact that after every turn you've got to make notes and stuff, which I felt just slowed the game down slightly. From my point of view, certainly when I play my buddy, we are limited on time, and that's why we generally play the standard Eternal War missions, because we know where we are. Don't have to worry about drawing cards and reading cards and working out what to do with each Maelstrom point each turn, and it keeps the game nice and quick. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the ITC rules. Yeah.
From a competitive standpoint, do you think the way that the ITC has banned certain units affects the game that you want to play as a competitive player? Do you think it affects what you want to bring, and is that positive or negative?
For me, it's always been positive because I like that, because if I can bring it, anyone else can bring it. And I think that's kind of the ultimate thing. I mean, I'm going to, and because again, I mean, going back to, I mean, I'm unashamedly a hugely competitive game. I like to bring nasty lists, and I want to win every game. That's how I play. But I want my opponent to have a genuinely enjoyable experience. I don't want anyone to come away from the table not enjoying the game. That's ultimately the most important thing. But I still want to win every game. And I mean, I'm going to the London GT in a couple of months' time, which is ETC rules, which is pretty much it's more or less the core rulebook. So more or less anything goes. Yes, there are restrictions to your army build, but it's more or less anything goes, and that makes me just want to just build nastier, horribler, more broken, because I know what I'm going to be against. So you know, and then that could be the case that I rock up with that list against somebody that's not prepared, and they get tabled in a couple of turns. I mean, that's unlikely in a high tournament, but it could happen. I'd much rather know that I'm reduced to what I can bring, but also so is the whole rest of the field. So it kind of, you know, you've always got that kind of chance. And I never thought at any time at the Las Vegas Open did I ever rock up and put my army down and think I didn't have a chance to win it.
I think what they do is actually a really, really good thing, because it also means you don't have to buy the mega expensive units sometimes, because cost is always a thing in this hobby that gets overlooked, and sometimes if you want to win you have to buy the really powerful units, and I think by having that cap on some things, it definitely helps in that respect too.
Yeah. It just so happens the expensive ones are the good ones as well.
Oh yeah.
Funny how that works.
Yes. Pure coincidence, of course. Pure coincidence.
But you also get a lot more variation with it, because I mean, again, there's a lot of joking around that at the moment. Basically, you know, you turn up to an unmodified tournament, and basically more or less every other list is going to be warp spiders, scat packs, and a wraith knight, and literally that will be every other thing.
Well, that does remind me that I've got to get those warp spiders painted soon.
No, you haven't. I've hidden them, Nick. You're not having them back. Because again, in the ITC, they can only jump away once, because again, it's stupidness. So you target them. If they can get out of sight, then you can't shoot at them. But basically, in the unstripped down version, as many units can keep doing that, and they can keep jumping as long as they stay out of line of sight. Again, that next unit can't shoot at them. So in the ITC, they say, well, you know, it's powerful enough, just one unit shooting at them and then being able to hide. They don't need to be able to keep doing it. It just becomes ridiculous. But they still, the winning Las Vegas Open list was like 40 warp spiders. So it just shows that even with something heavily modified to reduce its power, it's still really, really powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember back before the Dark Arts Sands tournament, which was the last tournament in my area, which was the Divine 40k tournament, we had two previous tournaments that were both cancelled because of the lack of attendance, but that was only because of like two players entered. One had Wraith spam from the Eldar stuff, and the other one had Wave Serpent and Jetbike spam. So I'm not sure, because I remember a few tournaments before that happened, people were just getting sick of little things that the Eldar were doing, and the little things from Assassins as well, from the Imperial side. I think we had this core tournament scene, but I think they went away because they were just getting sick of the whole announcements.
And I think that's what the ITC is really, really good, because it can just help sort of bring that in. And it's freely available, so you can just say, oh, I hold a tournament, I'm using these rules, so this is what you have to abide by. Whereas before, it was kind of like, I'm holding a tournament, I'll come up with my own house rules or something. But now there's a set standard, and that's what I really, really like about the ITC. You know what you're getting, and that's that.
Yeah.
How about the Highlander rules? Has anyone played those?
Yeah. No, they're really good fun actually. And if you do want something massively reined in, that's the ultimate way to do it. And again, like I suppose a purist tactician would say that's the way to, to really test yourself. But when you do that, you do find that again the basic the armies with the basic stronger stuff always do better, because if their troops are a scat pack against an attack marine, there's gonna be that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Highlander basically, if anyone doesn't know, is I mean they do differ slightly, but you have a restriction on duplicating units. So it basically prescripts you to a certain army build, which then means that you're not going against 20 Riptides or something like that, because you're going to be a lot more restricted to having only duplicates of like certain units, so like troop choices. So from that point of view, it's quite a nice way of running. But it does really limit the toys you can bring to the table, and ultimately this hobby is about collecting toys, and if you can't bring a lot of your flashy stuff, to me it's a bit restricting.
Yeah. Part of the enjoyment as well is as playing the game is just seeing the armies on the table.
Yeah.
To be honest, and bringing your big stuff is there's a real joy in that.
Well, that's why Ace and I did that 3K game, that massive game, wasn't it? So I could get my pylon on the table, and you could get Tiny. Table.
Yeah, he's never been out since. He's sitting in the cabinet in War Games in Southport, if anyone wants to see him. But yeah, again, I don't play a lot of APOC. I don't really have a massive interest in it. But now we have the format that if we want to, we can just do a 3,000 point game, chuck some big stuff in there, and just have a laugh. And it was a good laugh.
I think that's the key thing, really, at the end of the day with what we're talking about is. Obviously, everyone is different. Everyone enjoys the gaming side of it differently. I think ultimately, as long as you have a good time and somebody doesn't cheat, I think we should all be happy, really.
Totally agree.
Yeah, if you enjoy the game, it doesn't matter if you. Yeah, we're not gonna. No one likes a table flipper. So not.
Rage quit.
Tripped and fell.
Cool. Well, I think I'm just aware that we've been talking for about 50 minutes now. So, has anyone got anything else to add to that before we move on?
I think it was summed up pretty well by Nick.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, that was a nice ending. It's beautiful.
I was looking at the time as well.
Right. I'm gonna do something fancy again. And take us to our second screen. So, what we wanted to do was, for next show, we wanted to put the decision in the hands of the viewers as to whether. So what we talk about next time. Sorry, I'm doing too much at the same time and losing my train of thought. So we put up a poll. This is a straw poll. I'm going to paste the URL into the chat for everyone in chat. It'll also be in the description of the video if it's uploaded, or rather when it's uploaded after we've gone offline. That's the straw poll there. So pop on there, give us a vote on which of these subjects you want us to talk about next week, basically. And also in the comments to the videos when we've actually got it up online, if there's anything you want us to talk about which isn't on this list, then write them there and we'll include them for next time, and we'll do the same thing again with the straw poll again. So that's going to stay up there. Jump on, have a little vote, and we'll check it in a little while. So, but now what I wanted to do is viewer questions. There we go. So your questions. If you've got any questions at all, pop them in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. It's gone a little bit quiet in the chat, so I'm not sure who's still there.
Still there.
Hopefully, someone's still there to ask us some questions. It's going to be about 30 seconds before that gets through to the guys. Also, that'll be about 30 seconds before the straw poll comes through as well.
I will have a scan through the chat if you like to find
go
some
for it,
questions, see if there's anything going on.
That would be good.
Okay, so the first one from Joel is: any of you guys watching the Mini Wargaming Death Watch campaign? I myself am, because I like Kill Team stuff. Ironically, Harry and I are hoping to record our Kill Team campaign, which was delayed in a few weeks.
All right.
So that'd be really interesting for us. But yeah, so are anyone else catching up on that?
I'm not. No, I haven't been watching yet.
I think it's quite a big time investment to watch those guys. Those videos are quite long, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm a student, so I can watch stuff like that instead of actually having a job.
I've been watching loads of their like the pre-heresy stuff. That's got me actually quite excited about
that's
about my army. So I've been really kind of, whenever they put something up of that, like the battle reports and a lot of the quick tips on the painting, I found very interesting. But yeah, I haven't really. Again, I suppose it's just back to that. The whole campaign bits and the tutorial, that type. It doesn't really necessarily float my boat as much as just the progress they're doing just with just standard battle reports.
Yeah, I think the battle reports have gone up a lot in production quality lately, which has been really cool. But for me, loving the fluff and that, seeing Kill Team stuff and seeing the big narrative campaigns is why I'm a Vault member, because I have a lot of spare time. So I love watching all the bits. But you're right, the battle report stuff has taken a big leap, I think, in the right direction as well. I think it's really cool. But I can't seem to see many other questions in the chat at the moment. I don't know if anyone else has seen them.
Is anyone a Vault member for those guys? I'm just curious at this point.
Yeah, I am. But
I have been in the past. But that was sort of when they were losing their shop and needed a bit of support. I was lending some support.
Yeah, that's when I joined. That's when I joined, and I've been sort of since.
All right. I quickly got through their library of videos that I was interested in, and there was nothing left. Just because I can get through videos quite fast. So it lost a bit of its joy for me.
All right, yeah. I just find it's a nice way to burn like an hour and a half whilst I'm painting or something. Just stick it on. Once I've watched all the other little videos on YouTube, stick on something a bit longer. Just take away the monotony of the brushwork.
That's fair enough.
Craig, there's a couple of comments. I don't know if you can see the chat box on there. Skarnir said the link's not working for him.
Yeah, is it working for anyone else?
Yeah, it is. It is for me. Yeah.
I wonder if it's region locked.
That would be unusual.
I wouldn't have thought so, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
No. 4 votes so far.
Okay.
Seems to be working.
Yeah,
A note refresh.
Well, so works on mine.
Unfortunately, it seems to be a problem on your end, Skarnir.
No.
The amount of times I have to say that at work. Never thought I'd say it here. Dear, oh dear.
So there's another question here, but I'm not sure who this is aimed at. So it says, I missed the channel name there. When Kablams mentions it can be quite long. Was it specific? Was it a specific one or various? So I don't know if that's...
It's Mini Wargaming.
Okay, there we go.
The one that we were talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just assume that everybody knows that channel because
Well,
of how big it is, but of course...
It's kind of part of the reason that I'm here for sure, and I'm sure it's influenced a lot of people on getting into the hobby and stuff, so... But, yeah.
We have a viewer from California. Sorry, just felt like
Sweet.
sharing that. How big's the delay?
I mean, the only other long channel name that I can personally think of is almost unpronounceable. I don't know if anyone else wants to have a go at it, but
Yeah, I can do it. Easy. It's easy.
yeah, I think every week we should have a little challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Say, yes, say his channel name 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
I can't even say it once.
think-
So to be honest,
Never managed it on video, not once. I've tried so many
No,
times.
me.
I practiced and it still didn't work. It's just.
Let's take a poll. Have we all practiced his name in private?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. I can get the first bit. Crew
Oh
Orange.
dear.
It's the Angelia list.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It throws me.
Exactly.
Is it actually supposed to mean anything? Is it like proper Latin for something? Or
I have no idea.
We'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
Because
He has answered it so many times, but I believe
Has
it
he?
does have some sort of Blood Angels connotation, I think.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he just likes oranges.
yeah. I think just calling him Curious Orange is probably the best way to go about it.
Curious Orange.
Curious Orange. Love it.
Yeah.
If you ever need to write the name as a banner on the chat, just.
I was going to say, yeah, we're having him on at some point, so I'm dreading doing this for him. It's going to be a bloody nightmare.
Well, we can finally learn how it's pronounced. So.
Yes, that's true. I don't think have I ever heard him pronounce it?
I
I
haven't.
did actually make a video,
Yeah.
just a video, with the pronunciation of his channel name in like clips, and he
he
broke
did.
it down into words. But I still can pronounce it.
Oh, right. I think I wrote it in sections as well when I was trying to actually figure it out.
yeah, I think it is in multiple
We had a
sections.
spreadsheet for it,
Three
did you,
sections.
Craig?
Yeah, got a whole spreadsheet.
Drop down bar, just like if the name
Yeah.
is in cover, like how do I have to
Exactly.
pronounce
Put it in cover. I can twin link it. It's awesome.
No,
I
I
still
spent,
can't
I,
get
spent
over
I spent 2 days with him at War and Romania last year, and
Oh, yeah.
still no idea how to pronounce his name, his channel. No idea at all.
It's a good thing the name Mike is easy to say. Like,
I'm sure he gets off on that name being unpronounceable, to be honest.
To be fair, when
Dodgy as that sounds.
I made a joke with him that I was going to make a petition on YouTube for him to change his name, and he did actually say that he was thinking of changing it. But
Really?
there's something now that I don't want him to change it because it's just
No.
funny. No one can
Yeah.
pronounce it.
exactly.
Yeah.
It has its own legend, all of its own.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Definitely. Right, so it seems that Skarnir has actually managed to get on and vote, so that's good.
Happy days.
Yeah. Technical problems are over.
Cool. Well, as it's coming up to the hour, did you want to have a look? Well, it might have been an hour now. Did you want to have a gander at the straw poll, see how it's taken
Yeah,
off?
I'm looking
Yeah,
at it now. At the moment, Age of Sigmar and the Death of Fantasy is winning with 3 votes.
It is, isn't it?
Oof.
Second is our famous favourite Skirmish
You get
Games. And a couple of 1 voters for Is This Hobby Too Expensive and Is 40k Play to Win. And I can tell you one of those votes was mine.
Yeah, I'll vote it as well.
I think we are stuck on that, yeah. Seems to be about right.
Cool.
Are you going to be able to
So,
leave the poll open, Craig, or maybe do a video on it on your channel at some point
Oh
out
yeah,
of the poll?
definitely. And we can go over it next chat of this, to be honest. Any of us play Age of Sigmar?
No.
I've got the box. I got
Not-
started with it, but I haven't actually played the game yet. So it looks interesting though.
I've watched a lot of games, and I've been thinking about taking an interest in it. But every time I go to put money down on Age of Sigmar, or like fantasy models and that, I end up getting distracted by other 40k bits.
They're in the same place. That's the problem.
Exactly, because I was going to start some high elves, and and then I found some Imperial Guard, and I was like, well,
I've played a test game of it, just just literally with the starter sets, just for a couple of turns, just to see and it does seem like a lot of fun. Just as out of the box, just as a bit of a laugh. But yeah, I mean, I just think I don't know whether there's more to it, but it doesn't seem there's massive amount of depth to it. But I've got a big Skaven army from Fantasy. They're not what I used to play. That's literally just sitting packed away, gathering dust. But I'd love a reason to get it out and to sort of get it playing again. But I don't have a desire to, and I don't really know anybody else that really loves it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard so far, it seems like it's a bit like chess in the sense that it's really easy to pick up and play, but if you want to master it, it can be quite difficult because there's a lot of action in our local games workshop actually of Age of Sigmar, which is like it surprised me, but there is a lot of like movement is the most important part of the game from what I've seen so far, and like using your pile-in stuff. So it does look interesting to me. It's just every time I go to part with my money, I pick something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
Yeah, I think also the fact that you can't really make a list of an army list up.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre, really, and it's like, okay, I can take 50 models on my side, but you can take 20 models, and it's supposed to be a fair game. And it doesn't make sense in that sense. You've got big heroes, little characters, and this sort of thing. So, yeah, it needs a bit more structure to it.
Well, we've almost fallen into the trap of actually
Talking
doing a
about
discussion.
Just a sneak preview.
No
isn't it?
problem.
Right,
Just,
because I haven't much to say on it anyway, so...
Yeah, if that one wins on the vote, we might have to either ignore it or hunt for some people to get on who do know Age of Sigmar.
You need to find an expert, an Age of Sigmar expert.
Also the weird names of the Sigmarines as well. I don't know if you've seen the ones the guys on the horse dragons and stuff. They have some weird unit names. I just can't get where they come up with these names from.
Are they unpronounceable? Or?
Well, almost very unpronounceable, but they're really weird.
Just random name generator.
Fumigators or something like that. It's like a unit called Fumigators or something.
Can't even pronounce the paint pots, so let alone the models in there.
Cool. Right. Well, I think we've probably come to the end there.
Lovely.
I think we've had a fairly good discussion. Hopefully, everyone's enjoyed it. Who's been watching? I think we've been enjoying it. So, whether that's one side of it, isn't it? But hopefully, the guys in the chat have also had a chance. I think with it being a slightly later one this week, I don't know whether people have gone off to bed or what, but we seem to wane in interaction in the chat towards the end there. But hopefully that gets better with time and more people find out about it. This will be going up on my channel. I think the other guys download it from there and put it up on theirs as well. So there will always be a chance of watching it on demand, I think they call it. VOD, video on demand. I don't know. I'm not up with these sayings, but yeah. So I guess there's nothing left to say, but good night.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, see you all later.
Right. See you guys.
Right. See you again probably in another 2 weeks.
Cool.
Cheers.
Bye.